Welcome to the PTA Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, John Caliger, and come by my co-host, Nick Kelling. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
It's good to see your beautiful face on this wonderful Thursday. What's new with you, my friend?
Just looking for buyers and sellers, but getting a lot of renters.
Yes, is the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I'm looking for anyone who's trying to do some home equity, trying to shore up that credit card debt because we are in a credit card crisis. I don't think credit card debt has ever been this high in the nation. So if anyone's looking, anyone owns a home, has some equity in it, and has a lot of credit card debt, we can do a little debt consolidation and keep it moving.
Keep that interest low on your debt.
Yeah, because rates right now,
Crazy.
you're probably going to pay like 9 or 10% on a home equity, but you could pay 18 to 36% on a credit card. So you're basically cutting it in half, which was highway robbery, if you ask me.
That's more than that.
Yeah, if you go to your local, if you look at your local Datsun over down the corner, you get a better points on your money. Bada bing, bada boom. But credit card companies are the worst type of cartel, in my opinion. But on that, we have we're gonna look into real estate appraisal and taxes. I think that's what the clip. Nick, can you explain the clip that we're about to run a little bit better than me, because I did not explain it well at all.
Yeah, so one of the guys getting interviewed is a land attorney. He's going to be talking about taxes. And then later in the video, he talks about how to challenge your assessed value, the value that you pay taxes on. And this information is super important if you're looking to ever buy a house, because he points out that you pay taxes always in the rear, you pay 2016 taxes in the beginning of 2017. It's always in the rear. But most people don't really, keep track of that because their fees are all in escrow. So you just pay an escrow each month instead of waiting for your tax bill, paying the whole tax bill of the year. You're paying it month by month. So a lot of people don't really see that because it's all lumped into one payment that you make per month. But understanding how that money is being moved and all that stuff, he explains all that. Awesome. And then also challenging your assessed value, which is important because the statistics about winning appeals on your assessed value is pretty high. So if you don't like your taxes, you can appeal it, and a lot of times you'll win.
Interesting. So we'll roll this clip. Nick, you got to hit play.
An attorney in whatever municipality you live in. So the first question is, in Cook County, do you pay your taxes in advance or do you pay them in arrears?
You pay them in arrears, and a lot of people get that confused. So for instance, the 2018 taxes are payable in 2019. And normally the way it's laid out here in Cook County is the first installment is always 55% of the previous total tax year amount. So the first installment bill that everyone just received, that's 55% of the total 2017 tax bill. The second installment then gets released in July, and that's the actual tax amount you'll owe in 2018 minus whatever you paid in the first installment back in February.
Okay, so another question that I think people might have is, how are residential real estate property taxes calculated?
So it's a simple formula. You take the property's assessment times the property's local tax rate times the property's state equalizer. So let's talk briefly about two of those components. The state equalizer, that is set by the state of Illinois, the Illinois Department of Revenue, and that's always a set number. The local tax rate, again, similar to the state equalizer, that is also a set number, but that's dictated or set by the county clerk's office. And the county clerk's office really consults with the local municipality on that local tax rate. So the state equalizer and the local tax rate are fixed numbers.
And then, so what about the assessment? Where does the assessment come from?
So the assessment is If we're appealing your property taxes, you're really appealing the property's assessment. And in residential here in Cook County, the assessment is 10% of whatever the assessor thinks your fair market value is.
Okay, so what we're really doing is we're appealing the residential property's assessment. So how do we do that?
So there are two ways you could do it. So let's first talk about the process. Here in Cook County, there are two levels. The first level is you could appeal at the Cook County Assessor's Office, and you could appeal at the Cook County Board of Review. Or if you're early enough in the process, you could actually do both. It doesn't hurt you. So the first level here in Cook County is the Assessor's Office and at the Board of Review. Let's say hypothetically you get your response, you get your decision from the Board of Review and you're not happy about it. You could then appeal it even further, which I call the second level. You could appeal it at the Illinois Property Tax Appeal Board, which is a board, quasi-judicial board that's established by the state of Illinois, or you could file a suit at Cook County, Circuit Court of Cook County.
Okay, so let's say that you want to appeal your property taxes. What do you base your appeal upon? What do you do?
So for residential, there are really two approaches. One approach is market value. And when I say market value, it is two components. You could get an appraisal done, have an appraiser prepare a report stating what your property value is worth versus what the assessor thinks it's worth. A second way to do it under the market value component is recent sale. If you purchased your property in the last 3 years and it's an arm's length transaction, meaning two different parties do course of business. It can't be a short sale. It can't be foreclosure.
Right.
Those are not arm's length sales. So it has to be an arm's length sale. So that's the market value component. The second way to appeal is uniformity. And that's simply researching similar properties in the area that have a lower assessment per square foot than the subject property you're representing.
Okay, so another great question to ask, and it's a question that I've been asked, is that how often should you appeal your property taxes?
And that's actually a good question, because the way I want to answer that is, first, let's talk about the concept of getting reassessed. A lot of people get that confused in terms of when a property gets reassessed versus actually appealing your property's assessment. So here in Cook County, all properties get reassessed every 3 years. And it's really divided into three groups.
And that's pretty typical.
You have the northern group, which is comprised of all the northern municipalities in Cook County. You have the southern group, which comprises of all properties in the southern municipalities of Cook County. And then you have Chicago. All properties in Chicago represent the third group. This year in 2019, all the properties in the northern section of Cook County are getting reassessed. So all properties in Cook County get reassessed every 3 years, depending on the group you're in. Now, for appealing purposes, you could actually appeal every year. You don't have to appeal just the reassessment year. You could appeal every year.
Okay, so the last question of the day is really, is it expensive? How much does it cost to hire a real estate attorney to represent you in this process?
So in terms of how I charge, and a lot of other property tax appeal attorneys charge the same way, we charge a contingency fee. That's basically a percentage of whatever we could save you in terms of property tax dollars. So for instance, residential properties, it varies in terms of what the percentage is, but the way it works is, so if we're able to get you a reduction in your assessment, that means you're going to save in your taxes, and we get a percentage of that. Let's say we can't change your assessment, and let's just say if we go through the appeal process and your assessment stays the same, then you wouldn't owe us anything. So purely the way it's set up, we only get compensated if we're able to save you money.
So there's really no risk on the part of the homeowner.
There is no risk. There is no risk because, again, we're only getting compensated if we could get you a reduction. There are no filing fees. There are no upfront processing fees. At least I don't charge an upfront processing fee. It's purely the contingency fee. And again, I only get compensated if I am successful in reducing your assessment.
Fred, thanks a lot for getting together with us today to answer a lot of our frequently asked questions about appealing residential real estate property taxes.
You're welcome, Barry.
Now it's time for your
All right. So I mean, that's really the process. And that county, each county is gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah, Cook County is near me. That's-
pretty solid with the average across the country.
And who's this advantageous for, Nick?
I mean, like you said, any homeowner, and your assessed value goes up, and you're not okay with that, you always want to pay less taxes. You can
Yeah.
hire an attorney. Most of them, like he said, you might have to pay like a fee up front, but if he can save you money in the long run, I mean, it's going to be very, very advantageous for you. Plus, you only pay that big amount, the big lawyer amount, if he
Yeah.
wins.
Yeah.
So you're only really paying a lot of money if you're saving even more money.
And this kind of goes back to like, how does this tie into like what's going on in Texas in one of our previous episodes?
Yeah. So right now, a lot of these assessed values have been going up in Texas. Now with this new law and all that stuff, we get a vote in some of our assessors in our counties. I know like one of the guys a lot of the guys that are running is like, I'm gonna, I want to lower your assessed value. Now he has to still give fair market values, but what's been identified in a lot of places is that a deliberate over assessment in certain areas. So then they can pay their fair share, pretty much.
Okay, so you're saying in Texas, and I'm assuming if it's happening in Texas, it's happening in other places too.
Everywhere. It's not just Texas located. It's everywhere in any big cities where the idea is, oh, you have this rich area with all these nice houses, and a lot of these poor areas with a lot of lower income. Oh, I'm gonna go on the higher end on assessed values on these houses, and the lower end on the lower on the lower houses, which a lot of people are like, that's not right. Let's just do the lower end of all these houses.
Yeah. And I do want to say before any further, me and Nick are not tax professionals whatsoever, not financial professionals. So if like take all this advice with a grain of salt, if you're actively going to do anything regarding the law, please consult a lawyer. We are not tax or law professionals.
Yep, that's why we played the long video today, because he is a lawyer.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. So
and a good rule of thumb when you're dealing with any lawyer or accounting, like even if you're dealing with a doctor, if you're doing anyone who's a professional, always see 3 or 4 people. Always get different opinions and different points of view. Don't just take our word for it. Please consult other people as well.
and don't settle for the first guy. This kind of reminds me of a story when my grandparents were looking for a lawyer to put it in to do their will, and the lawyer told them, "Oh, just sell all your properties and then give the cash to your kids." But they're like, "We don't want to sell all our properties. Like, we want to pass down the properties." The lawyer's like, "Oh no, it's not even worth it. It's not worth it. Just sell. You'll create all this fight and all that stuff." And they're like, "No, we're gonna see someone else." And the other person's like, "That's great. Like, if you want to sell, go for it. But if you don't want to sell, like, I feel like most families will be able to understand and come up with a solution where not every family is going to be cutting out their throats to, oh no, I want this house or whatever. It's like, all right, let's work something out. Most families are.
Dude, the balls on that lawyer. Imagine working your whole life building up a little real estate empire, and the guy's like, "Yeah, that's who cares? Like, just sell it all. Like,
Yeah, sell it all.
It's not worth it." Yeah, that's hilarious.
I don't know if
That's
he got like a bigger commission if he sold it all, or
yeah, he's like, "Oh, come
I don't
you."
know if he was trying to sell the houses.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so always get more than one opinion. Three is usually the ideal.
Is a magic number. 3 strikes are out, baby.
Yep.
Nick, do you have anything else you want to add? I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
No, just if you don't like your assessed value, challenge it. the odds are you're going to win.
That's for sure. God bless you, everyone who's listening, and thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day.
See ya.